Hello and welcome to another edition of BOI Impact. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. Today's edition of the program will focus on another laudable step taken by BOI that is aimed at deepening and efficiently accelerating its credit delivery process, especially to micro, small and medium enterprises, without compromising the quality of its risk assets. This is in response to the call made by the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mr. Olaosebikan, at the inauguration of the fourth Board of Directors of the bank. At the inauguration ceremony, the minister charged the bank's board and management to evolve new and innovative ways to credit that Nigeria SMEs are grappling with.
The future of the MSME as a sector rests squarely on how responsive you are to their funding needs. I am aware that the Bank of Industry has had a number of initiatives already to support this group. What I'm asking for is that now we scale it up and do far much more than we had done in the past.
Welcome back. Just shortly after the minister's speech, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of BOI, Mr. Rasheed Olaoluwa, alongside his management team, engaged the media to unfold the bank's new vision to support the transformation agenda of the federal government of Nigeria as regards the nation's industrial sector.
The transformation of BOI has become a national strategic imperative, especially in view of the National Industrial Revolution Plan, NIRP, and the National Enterprise Development Program, NEDEP. Consequently, we are exploring alternative means of funding, such as the following. 1. Continuation of sector-specific intervention funds by the Central Bank of Nigeria, by the Ministry of Agric, and the Federal Ministry of Solid Mineral Resources, and so on. 2. Manage funds from various state governments and HNIs, high net worth individuals. We will also explore the possibility of raising long-term loans at very low interest rates from multilateral through international development institutions. We will also explore the possibility of raising domestic and international bonds. And number 5, other sustainable annuity sources that may become statutorily imperative in the medium to long term. In order for us to execute the foregoing funding program successfully, we must adopt global best practices in the management of BOI.
You're still watching BOI Impact. After a competitive process, the bank called for interactive sessions in Lagos, Abuja, Asaba, and Kaduna with 122 BDSPs firms that were shortlisted. BOI's management team, that was led by its managing director, Mr. Rasheed Olaoluwa, discussed how BOI would work with the BDSPs in helping MSMEs that are known to have considerable development impact, especially their high employment generation potentials. Tonight we shall bring you highlights of the interactive sessions. Happy viewing. Over the years, the Bank of Industry has not been able to assist SMEs as it has always wanted to because most of the applications received from SMEs do not meet BOI's requirements and are therefore not bankable. In order to improve the quality of loan applications, the bank has decided to appoint business development service providers, BDSPs, who would interface between BOI and its potential SMEs beneficiaries.
We noticed that the quality of applications coming to BOI, especially from the SMEs, the quality is very poor. The result is that the success rate is also very low. So one of our fundamental expectations is that with your appointment, the quality of applications that come to us will almost guarantee approval. Because a lot of work will have been done to ensure that the key issues are addressed. Now, so that it's important that we have a two-way communication between the Bank of Industry and the BDS firms in terms of what exactly is BOI expecting in a credit package. So we are going to have some discussion around that in terms of, the business model, the documentation required, etc., so that we're on the same page. The second expectation we have is that of speed. We expect that as much as possible, we should try to respond very quickly to issues. There will always be issues. On our own part, we are committing to always respond very rapidly to you, and we also expect that our partners, because that's what you are partners, we also respond, very rapidly to issues that may arise.
I would like to commend the Bank of Industry for this laudable program. I believe that anything that's worth doing at all is worth doing very well. I would anticipate that as a result of this project, the velocity of loan applications to Bank of Industry will increase tremendously. What is the bank doing to improve its own internal capacity so that when these applications come in, they can be processed as speedily as possible? I think these are the points I have to make.
Loan processing capacity even within BOI. Of course, like I mentioned, for the first time, we have a loan monitoring department. We're going to have, senior, maybe like middle management officers that will join the bank to ensure that we can improve the efficiency of our internal processes. So that is being done.
Those were the excerpts from the Lagos leg of the Bank of Industry's dialogue with the BDSPs, in the course of which you heard the MD, Mr. Rashid Olaoluwa, responding to some issues raised by the BDSPs. The Asaba and Kaduna meetings with the BDSPs was anchored by the bank's General Manager, Small and Medium Enterprises, Mr. Abdul Ganiyu Mohammed. BOI's Executive Director, Small and Medium Enterprises, Mr. Wahid Olagunju, who led the bank's team to Abuja edition of the seminar, used the bank's experience in managing its Small and Medium Enterprises Fund with the Kano State government to buttress the bank's reason for partnering with the business development service providers.
We know a lot of Nigerians are enthusiastic, they're highly enterprising, they're very hardworking, they want to perform, they want to be productive, but many of them lack the capacity. I'll give you a few statistics. We have a partnership with the Kano State government. When we launched the scheme for a 500 million naira fund, we received applications to the tune of 3.1 billion just within a period of 2 months when the jingles ran on radio and TV stations in Kano. And we evaluated the applications and we were able to approve about 164 out of these applications, valued at about 489 million. But we've not been able to disburse much because the applicants do not know how to proceed in terms of meeting the pre-disbursement conditions. So there is a huge gap there. And that is one of the areas where we hope the BDSPs will be of service to the process. So we are hoping that with your experience and your expertise, you will help us identify good deal flows all over the country and in areas where we're operating, and helping the prospective customers and entrepreneurs to meet our requirements, and also helping them to ensure that businesses succeed, that they can pay us back. And then that's the only way the country's GDP can increase, and moreover, the contribution of the manufacturing sector to the GDP can also increase.
Still on the bank's engagement with the business development service providers, just recently the bank signed agreements with the 26 selected BDSPs in Lagos that have national mandates. The agreement signing with BDSPs that have regional and state mandates will be signed shortly. The event, which was regarded as an epoch-making event by the elated BDSPs, was witnessed by a cross-section of the media in the country. Sit back and relax as BOI Impact takes you through the signing ceremony. Happy viewing. Welcoming its development partners and the media to the event, the BOI MD, Mr. Rashid Olaoluwa, emphasized the strategic importance of MSMEs to the development of Nigeria's economy and challenges they contend with, which led BOI to the engagement of business development service providers to provide relief for the SMEs operators.
One of the main factors responsible for the current low level of financial support to SMEs is the fact that their business plans and loan requests are poorly packaged and are non-bankable. In recognition of this challenge, as well as in fulfillment of BOI's core mandate of providing long-term financial and business support services to large, medium, and small projects, the bank has decided to engage the services of business development service providers.
The MD also highlighted the rigorous selection process that led to the appointment of the selected BDSPs.
On the 14th of July 2014, we published in some national dailies a request for proposal from prospective BDSPs. 311 applications were received nationwide. We defined a set of criteria to evaluate the proposals received, and we set a minimum score of 65% as a qualifying threshold. At the end of the evaluation process, a total of 122 companies were shortlisted as BDSPs in 3 categories based on their capacity and their preferred areas of coverage as follows: national coverage, 28; zonal coverage, 74; state coverage, 20; total 122. We have engaged with the BDSPs through a series of interactive sessions held in 4 centers: Lagos, Abuja, Asaba, and Kaduna. These sessions were very useful in helping us fine-tune the framework for the BOI-BDSP partnership.
The scope of services to be provided by the BDSPs include the following: collaborating with BOI to identify credible SMEs that require finance, developing bankable business plans and proposal for SMEs to facilitate their access to finance. The BDSPs will be guided by BOI's risk acceptance criteria to ensure that a sound business model is developed and presented. Collaborating with BOI to conduct a periodic post-finance monitoring of the SMEs. Providing post-finance services such as mentorship, hand-holding, financial advice, and inculcation of best business practices. Supporting the SMEs to develop synergies and sustainable relationships with large enterprises, industrial buyers, and suppliers along the value chain. The remuneration of the BDSPs as well as their obligations are also pointed out by the Managing Director of BOI.
The BDSPs will be remunerated as follows, and there are A, B, and C components. So A, initial token fee. This will be paid by the SME to the BDSP before the submission of the business plan and loan application to BOI, based on the following graduated scale. So it's a function of the loan amount. If the loan amount is less than 10 million, the initial token fee will be 10,000 naira only. For loan amounts that range from 10.1 million up to 50 million naira, the token fee is 25,000 naira. For loans between 50 million and 200 million naira, the token fee is 50,000 naira. What we've tried to do here is to ensure that the amounts are, like we describe it, token, just to show commitment on the part of the SMEs, and we ensure that we eliminate frivolous applications. Success fee. The total success fee shall be 0.5% of the approved loan amount and shall be payable by BOI as follows. 1. 50% of the total fee shall be payable after the collection of the loan offer letter by the SME. 2. The balance of 50% of the fee shall be payable immediately after the disbursement of the loan by BOI. So the success fee will be payable by BOI. Post-finance remuneration. The SMEs shall be responsible for any post-finance remuneration of the BDSPs based on the agreed scope of services to be provided and negotiated between both parties. In other words, as the SME gets bigger and requires additional services from the BDSPs, we believe they should be in a position to also negotiate reasonable fees with the BDSPs.
In his closing remarks, while appreciating all and sundry that graced the signing ceremony, the MD expressed his optimism for the successful takeoff of the program.
I'd like to seize this opportunity to thank our development partners, that's the BDSPs, for the passion and commitment they have demonstrated in the successful co-creation of this SME business development ecosystem. I also hope that these attributes will also be brought to bear in their work with SMEs in the months and years ahead. We believe very strongly that through this partnership, the job and wealth creation objectives of the federal government under the National Enterprise Development Program will be realized. Please note that regardless of the appointment of BDSPs, our customers are still at liberty to apply for loans directly to BOI through any of our physical office locations in Lagos, Akure, Asaba, Abuja, Kaduna, and Bauchi, or for the more digitally inclined customers through our online application portal, www.boinigeria.com/apply.
Then the signing ceremony. There were goodwill messages from some of the business development service providers.
I want to say a big thank you to BOI leadership for this attempt. In my opinion, it's a very laudable effort where we will see the result. The commitment I believe I'll make on behalf of Nexon, and I believe I'm speaking for the rest of us, is that we'll give it the best shot possible. Because the value derivable is clear to us, but it is now getting the right kind of economics going. But as it is, I think it's a good invitation given to us, and we will give it our best shot to make sure that we get the value out of this bottom of the pyramid we've been talking about. So I want to say a big thank you to the Bank of Industry team, and I will say welcome on board, my partners. Let's see how we make money for ourselves while supporting the growth of the SME sector in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
It's heartwarming to actually know that today is here. And the fact that we have the government that is interested in uplifting the small businesses. And what I see from what BOI is doing is that they're finding a way of providing those small businesses who otherwise wouldn't have had access to the quality of advice, quality of consulting that they need to be able to actualize the dream they have indirectly provided it for them at a very cheap cost. So we're development partners. We're working to ensure that our nation improves economically. We're creating jobs. And let's not just look at the fee, but let's take it on as a challenge. And I will be speaking on behalf of all of us. I hope we're all on board, that we will willingly contribute our quota to ensuring that this succeeds. So I'd like to say thank you to BOI for making today happen. I'd like to congratulate my colleagues that were part of this, I would say, and it's an epoch event, it's a noble event, it's a beginning of a new way of doing things, and it's actually a privilege to be part of it.
I want to start off by commending the new management team of BOI. When did they come on stream? Not too long ago. And for this to have happened within such a short time, and for they to be adopting an innovative approach, different from what had happened over the years, I think they deserve a warm round of applause. You're going to enjoy the benefits of synergy. You're going to have benefits of collaboration, which I've always advocated has been better than that of competition. For us as the BDSPs, I see it as a challenge. I think it's a call to national service. Those of us who have been around for a while know that the small, medium enterprises have suffered for too long. So we should take it as a challenge, and we must also be able to live up to our billing.
The media also seek for some clarifications on the program.
For the SMEs that are operating at the interland, that's those that are outside Lagos,
I'd like to know the kind of plans you have for them as far as this initiative is concerned.
This is a scheme that we are launching in Lagos. Is it applicable nationwide? If that is the question, yes. The answer is yes. Remember, I mentioned the fact that these BDSPs are in 3 categories. We have a total of 28 who have a nationwide coverage and can actually advise and support SMEs in any part of the country. We also have about 74 of them who have a zonal responsibility based on their capacity. And then we have those who just say, listen, I want to just focus on Ogun State, or I want to focus only on Plateau State. We also have that. So that is how the scheme has been structured.
Looking at some of the conditions that have been given to the BDSPs to perform or get delisted, one of them says that they must achieve at least a minimum of 40% success, annually. If they are being put under pressure of getting at least 40%, my fear is that they may be forced to compromise.
They are not going to approve the loans themselves now. So when they prepare the business plan, they will have to walk through back of industry. And I can assure you that it will be difficult to compromise our system, because even our own credit process is being re-engineered. A lot of things come to a committee, and that committee has questions. In fact, it has got to a stage that people who propose credit step down the credit on their own even before they are considered, because they can see that this credit is not likely to fly. So they say, okay, this one I'm going to represent it, so don't take it. That's, because there are questions being asked now. We are sending a clear signal that BOI is not a national cake. BOI must be sustainable, and the only way it can be sustainable is that when we grant loans, those loans must be repaid. There are loans guaranteed by some commercial banks in Nigeria. The loans were showing signs of going bad, and those loans were guaranteed. So we call the guarantees, and the banks had to run around to ensure that they pay us. So this is the new BOI that takes risk management very seriously.
You've heard it all from the Managing Director of the Bank of Industry as well as some representatives of the BDSPs on how they both intend to assist MSMEs through this collaboration and also on how you can all benefit from these unique initiatives. In case you're still wondering how this program could be beneficial to you and your enterprise, in the next few minutes we shall show you a BOI customer who was assisted by a BDSP.
I am a benefactor of BOI facility, the BOI Dangote facility. My experience in assessing this facility, I'd like to say, was actually an eye-opener for me. I think I was fortunate to have a consultant who had done it several times, so the hurdle was quite easy. He was able to come up with the documents needed at one go. Apart from that, I think I so far have had a good experience.
It is evident that painstaking efforts have been made to ensure the effectiveness and overall success of this initiative, which is aimed at accelerating the growth of the SME subsector. With this initiative, BOI has taken a major step to address the deficiency of lack of capacity inherent in most of our SMEs. That was a very good testimony by the bank's customer who was assisted by a BDSP. So what are you waiting for? As we always say, the Bank of Industry will leave no stone unturned in facilitating the rapid development of the MSME sector. As you must have learned from today's program, the bank is ever ready to work with relevant domestic and foreign development partners in transforming the Nigerian industrial sector. If you are an entrepreneur or you have a business idea that you think requires support from BOI, this is the time for you to approach one of our accredited BDSPs to put you through the processes. It's on this note that we'll draw the curtain on this week's edition of BOI Impact. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. Have an enterprising week. Bye for now.